Hi, it's me, Makeup by the Numbers. Welcome to an ultimate review. Today we are going to be reviewing Bobbi Brown's Smoky Eye Mascara. Today's going to be a fun one, so hang on tight. So for packaging and application, it's clearly labeled with both the product name and the variation with the color on the back. I think that's fantastic. It's a plain simple tube, but this is what I expect from a mascara product. It also has a matte silver finish, which distinguishes it from another product line she has, which has a glossy silver finish, so I like that. It is a bummer that it rolls and it's always rolling away from me, but it's a mascara tube. It gets a pass in that. It also does have a stopper. As you can see, the stopper keeps the product relatively clean. I know you're thinking this is not clean, but this is after months and months of use. This product is pretty much empty, and it stayed relatively clean through most of that. So all in all, I don't have an issue with it. Moving on to the wand and application process, as you can see, it has a medium large straight wand with traditional bristles arranged in a spiral. Personally, this is not my preference. I would prefer a stronger bristle to really comb out and lengthen and keep my lashes unclumpy, especially if you have stubborn thick lashes like I do. I would have preferred something more narrow at the tip to help get in the inner corner or to do the under eyes. I just think that this was a very no frills packaging and no frills wand, which is what you'd expect from a basic mascara. Although I'm not really going to fault it for not buying into some of the trads and fens and quite frankly weird things that some designers do with their mascara wands. I do wish there had been a little bit more thought put into it than just something that you could buy off the shelf that I would expect from a drugstore company. Though, to be honest, Bobbi Brown is essentially a drugstore brand now, which is unfortunate, but she's moved on. For the adhesion of the product itself to the eyelashes, it worked pretty well. It's a high viscosity formula. It's very thick, it doesn't drip, and it offered full coverage on the lashes. So I don't actually have any problem with the application itself. Most of my issues came with the formula. So it's advertised as a full coverage, intense black. I'm not going to say smoky eye, that's the product name. Volumizing mascara. That's what you're looking for, is that thickness and that volume. Moving on to effect. The things that I looked at were how well does it volumize, how well does it lengthen, and how much of a curling mascara is it. Now, as far as its thickening goes, I only gave it a 6 out of 10, and that's not great considering this is allegedly a volumizing mascara. 6 out of 10 is really just above average. For opacity, I gave it a 7. Again, this is supposed to be your blackest black mascara. This is not a soft black or a natural black. So I was a little disappointed again to only see that I ranked it a 7 out of 10. I've had blacker mascaras that weren't even advertised as being blackest black. For lengthening, I gave it a 7 out of 10. It's ironic, this is supposed to be a volumizing mascara, but I thought it did better at lengthening. And then for curling, a lot of times with volumizing mascaras, you may struggle to deal with the weight of it bringing out the curl in your lashes, and it's hard for me to assess, particularly because my lashes are straight and stubborn. But this did not interfere with my lash curl. It is a relatively lightweight formula that doesn't pull out my lashes, and I didn't notice that it was any worse than any other mascara, so I gave it a 5. That's middle of the road, but considering this is a volumizing, ostensibly volumizing mascara, that's actually pretty good. The real drawback to this was that it's just an okay. 6 and 7 is really nothing special to brag about when it comes to a mascara. I also had some issues with the texture of the product. So for texture, I looked at the viscosity of it, the flakiness of it, and the clumpiness of it. So for viscosity, I gave it a 9 out of 10. As I mentioned, it is a very viscous formula. I actually prefer something a little more creamy. I think it goes on easier, and I think it's just easier to work with, especially since mascaras, I had a lisp, especially since mascaras tend to thicken over time. Starting off with a formula that's just a tad bit creamy would actually probably do the consumer good in the long run. Moving on to flakiness, I'm going to hurt it a little bit here. I gave it a 6 out of 10. That's above average flakiness. In fact, I don't think the average mascara is flaky. over time, if you wanted to wear this all day wear, or if you had on another product, or as the product itself aged, I was experiencing a moderate fallout, or if I rubbed my eyelashes in particular, it would come off kind of the way a tubing mascara would, except that this is a traditional mascara. So I wasn't really a fan of that. And then for clumpiness, I gave it a 7. Now with the volumizing mascara, I know you're thinking, well, it's going to clump. That's what it does. But I don't think so. I think you can have a thick black mascara that makes your lashes look bolder, that doesn't ball up on you, and it doesn't cause you to look like you have spider legs for lashes. I do not like this formula. I found that it did ball up on me. That's especially ironic considering I didn't give it very many points for volumizing. It's just not a good volumizing mascara. It's a basic mascara. So overall, I had some pretty significant issues with the texture of this product, which is a shame because even though it wasn't revolutionary, it was a pretty solid product. For smell, which is something I always like to talk about in my reviews because I'm sensitive to smell and I know some of you might be as well, I gave it a 0 out of 10 for scent. That means there's no perfume in it. I've never had a perfumed mascara, so that's exactly what I would expect. And then I gave it a 2 out of 10 for a negative odor. It has a slightly, I can't place it, but I want to say it's an alcoholic undertone. There is no alcohol in this formula, so I'm not sure quite what I'm smelling, but it smells basically like a mascara, and I think 2 out of 10 is pretty par for the course. I don't find it upsetting. I find it very mild, and I'm not alarmed at the scent at all. That is just what mascaras smell like. So it is a safe product for me in that regard. Longevity, I mentioned, as long as you don't try to wear it too much, you don't or too long during the day, you don't have any issues with the formula. 10 to 12 hours is really about your max. You're safer at 8 to 10 or until you wash it. Again, it does run in the shower or if you wash your face. That's to be expected from any non-waterproof formula. Moving on to how well it wears, I found that 1 or 2 coats was really best. It doesn't take a lot of layering. It would just, again, it would ball up, it would clump, it would become unusable if you tried to do more than 2 coats. I like to do one and done mascaras, but to get the full effect of this mascara, you did need 2 light coats, and unfortunately that's due to not having the opacity or the volumizing effect that I would have wanted out of this product. And then I like to use lash primer pretty frequently. I like to test all my mascaras with and without it because I frequently do use them, and unfortunately I gave this one pretty low score on that. I gave it a 4 out of 10, which means it actually doesn't play. Almost average, but not quite. It didn't want to slide over my Dior 3D Maximizer, which is what I am testing all my mascaras with right now. It seemed to not glide. It just didn't work. So I had to wear this by itself. I've had other products go over that fine. I've used that Dior Maximizer with 6 or 7 mascaras, and I've never had the problems with it that I had with the Bobbi Brown. You can get Bobbi Brown at a lot of places. So obviously the own site, I say her own site, but she's left the brand, but the Bobbi Brown site, Amazon, Sephora, Ulta, Target, pretty much anywhere Estee Lauder is sold, you're going to find Bobbi Brown. And the cost per ounce is $170. Now I know you're thinking, wow, what a way to end your review with the cost after pretty much not giving it great reviews overall. Well, hear me out. The average mascara that I was pulling off Sephora websites when I'm doing these cost comparisons is roughly $100 to $105 per ounce. Mascara is very expensive. All makeup is expensive per ounce, but mascara especially so. $170 is still expensive. That is very expensive. I'm not sure why this particular mascara is that expensive. Now, I didn't like it personally, but that doesn't mean you don't. But when I look at the packaging, when I look at the wand, when I look at what it's advertised to do, this is not some sort of fancy serum or life-changing product. It is just a mascara. I'm not sure why it is nearly twice as expensive as other brands. It is more expensive than Tarte, Too Faced, Kosas, Rare Beauty, the Sephora brand, Dior. It is higher priced than Guerlain. which in fact was the cheapest out of all of those that I calculated per ounce than other brands. Basically, only Tom Ford and a few other brands were higher priced per ounce. And the reason is you get a smaller bottle for this than you do in some of the other mascara products, which I'm normally fine with because, again, mascara has a very short shelf life. I don't want to be wasteful and not go through a product, but the cost should reflect that. If it's a smaller package, the price should be reduced, and it's not. There's only 2/10 of a fluid ounce in mascara as opposed to 1/3 of an ounce, at least 1/4 to 1/3 of an ounce that were in some of these other products. So that was really disappointing. It is a drugstore product, and it is a good drugstore product, but overall I gave it a 6. It's slightly better than average, but I would not drop my money on this, and I do recommend other mascaras. So I hope that helped. I know it was a pretty harsh review. If you love it, let me know what you like about it. Maybe I do just have a bad batch. That is always possible. But until then, let me know what you like, what you didn't like, any other products you'd like for me to review. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, beauty is on the inside, and I'll see you till next time. Bye.